Hello, everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, Ol'Ed Ed Fries, joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host as we do our final show of 2025. Don't worry, we'll be back in 2026. At least one of us probably will. One of us will probably kill the other.
I didn't agree to this.
You did not agree to the death match for the winner taking over. Don't worry, it's in the gift you're getting in the beginning of January. It's fine. The contract's in the gift.
I'm scared.
No, I think you'll find I think you'll find it funny what I got you. I'm gonna make sure you show it up on the show next week.
Well, I got my Wepa Time shirt that I got for Christmas, so at least one of the things.
Yes, you've got a couple things coming, two of which you know, one of which you don't.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm scared.
You got the picture from Mr. Santana.
Yeah.
The night he won the title that no longer holds because TNA is TNA.
Don't remind me.
You have the AJ Lee shirt, fresh from the WWE, during a live event at Raw. When I went to see his last Raw. That's vastly overpriced at the arenas.
Very true.
God, I didn't know how much things are overpriced at the arenas. Jesus.
Yep.
And then you get the special thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only ones I would get at the arena is the ones that say it's like certain, like for that city, like the Cena ones that it's only for that city. Those are the only ones I would get at the arena.
Yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way. It's fine. $100 on merch later. It's fine.
Hey.
Ed won't pay $2 for a hot dog.
But hot dogs are not $2 in the arena, CG. That's the thing, though.
Well, at indie shows they are. At Raw they're not. No.
Yeah.
But then again, we had a booth at Raw. I didn't have to pay for food. But anyways, we digress. We're here to talk about Dreamwave Wrestling, which you can find up there at dwwrestling.com. You can find them at DW Wrestling on the X, and of course Dreamwave Wrestling on YouTube. They are fantastic. We love going to LaSalle to talk about this. It's a fun promotion. There's a lot of fun people here. Commentary is always an adventure. And they were still an adventure tonight because I love the commentary at Dreamwave. Like, I have to continue saying this because every time we talk about Dreamwave, we always talk about the commentary is so hit or miss. I love 90% of the commentary. I feel like it is one of the better what's going on in the ring commentaries that we get on these shows. However, they like to ad-lib a lot. They need a better vantage point because they're obviously not in the right spot for a lot of these things.
Yes, especially for the main event.
Their battle royal stuff is not Dreamwave. The announcing for the battle royals is always spotty at best. We talked about that 2 weeks ago with the Good as Gold women's battle royal, and we'll talk about it again tonight.
Yeah, pretty much.
But what were your overall thoughts? We're back here in LaSalle, Illinois again. We've got Val Capone. We've got her counterpart for the Dreamwave side, the Love Agenda, whose name they never mention. I can't tell you who he is because not once during any of these shows do they mention who Val Capone's Dreamwave counterpart as ring announcer is. They'll tell us it's Val Capone. They will not mention this man's name to save my life. I can't find it.
Yeah, I can't recall either, to be honest.
He's actually really good. Like, I find him to be a very good ring announcer. He's got a good cadence. He's got a good voice. He's got a good flow. I like him. I think he's good. He's not as entertaining as Val Capone, but then again, if you are, Val Capone is fantastic. And then, of course, we open with a bang. Well, not only a bang, but a Matthews and a bang. As we have the tag team title four-way going on. We have Bang and Matthews taking on AMB and Rafael Quintero, taking on the former champions, The Hype, 12 Gaige, and Hunter Holdcraft, taking on one of my new favorite tag teams, the Hatekeepers. 1, A+ on the name. 2, These guys are so much fun. Marston and Solomon Tupu are sensational. It's like small guy, like generic indie wrestler dude, and then big, huge, hulking behemoth of a dude. And I love them both.
Yeah, every time I saw Solomon, I just kept thinking he just looks like he would fit with the MFTs right now, to be honest. Like if you put him in there, he would fit right in with them, especially with the way that he was moving during this match, and I think in the battle royal, if I remember correctly too. Um, but yeah, every time I saw him, I just went, "Oh, I can see it with that group right now." To be honest, the way you're moving and the way he just like his overall like not only his charisma or his presence altogether. So it just reminded me of that. I forget you're muted.
Doing
Still.
a whole bunch of stuff on the other screen. I apologize. Yeah, no, I thought this match was a bunch of fun. All right, so I don't take a lot of notes for these four-way tag matches because there's too many notes to take and there's too many things going on. The things I want to continue to say, Bayne and Matthews continuing to impress me every time we see them wrestle. Like, it's just so good. They are so interesting and so different from a lot of the tag teams that we've got going on right now. The Hype have such a feel to them. I can't put my finger on exactly what's going on with the Hype and why I like them so much, but there's just a vibe and a feel about them. They come out with like the powdered energy drink and the water, and that's a whole fun gimmick. You know, they've got the bright, colors, which excites the little kid inside me, all the bright, shiny colors. But at the end of the day, they're really, really good wrestlers too. God, Solomon was just power bombing folks like just everywhere and anywhere, and that was fantastic. The combination of ways that they kept interrupting the matches with, every team kind of getting their chance to be on top, every team taking a moment to take the beat to be beaten down, and every team kind of getting that chance to get that last second save. It wasn't always just Bayne and Matthews. It wasn't always just the Hype. It was everybody kind of doing their part to do it. Seeing the teams work together, but not working with their partners. Like at one point, it gave me an NXT takeover feel of when we had AOP taking on Dash and Dawson and The Way, Gargano and Ciampa. When like we had like two sets of teammates like trying to take down Solomon Tupu, and you had like different groups of different teams trying to super kick this guy and take him down. It was sensational. I love this. And I was surprised by the ending because at the end of the day, the Hype regained the tag team championships again. Not something I had on my bingo card. Bayne and Matthews had just recently re-won these titles again. So I was surprised to see them lose them again. But then again, the Hype makes a lot of sense here. They're doing a lot of good work here. We got Maddie Rawball. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
Maddie.
Thank you. We hope you had an enjoyable holiday season as well, as we've gone through Christmas and we're going through all the other holidays as we get ready to do New Year's Eve. And we got a little bit of news about New Year's Eve with what's going on next week. So we'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, Maddie's from the Greg Cherry show. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. Yeah, great people over there. So
for great me,
I tried to take as much notes as I could, but there was so much going on. It was hard to keep up with everybody. But again, this is like, as the great Melba would say, this is a glorious chaos type of match because they had a lot going on. There you go. As she comes in, I didn't plan that just in case. But yeah, there was so much going on. It was hard to keep up with all of them. But at the same time, it was something that was so fun to watch. And I like how they all had chemistry with each other. It didn't matter who was going against who. It all worked out so well. The timing for everything. It's one of those matches like the timing is everything. And it worked out for everybody in this match. It's just one of those things like if you think if somebody was a second too late, this wouldn't have worked out. And it all worked out perfectly for everybody here. And they look great at the end. Like you said, for me, Solomon was one that really stood out during this whole match. He was so fun to watch. And overall, I like seeing everybody in this match, to be honest. There was nobody that I was like, I don't want to see them. I'm bored with them or anything like that. I enjoyed every part of it. It was just hard to keep up with everything, so I kept pausing to take notes if I could. But there's so many points at the beginning. If I remember correctly, I don't know if it was Davey that did it. The left leapfrog, like almost like lethal injection kind of move at the beginning of the match, and I was like, "Dang, we're starting like this." I'm like, "Let me buckle up, and this is how this is going." But overall, I enjoy the match. I like you. I was so surprised, like with the hype winning the match. So I thought I'm like, it could have been anybody's match, to be honest, because the way everybody kept breaking the pins, anybody could have won this. But I was still surprised that we had new champions during the match at the same time. But overall, such a fun vibe. And I was like, what a way to open the show than having like the high flyers come in, get everybody hyped up to begin with, and just get this energy going.
Get them all hyped up with the hype as your new tag team champions. I'm gonna say something here that I think you'll probably reiterate on. Every match that I watched on this show felt like match of the night until we got to the main event. Like every match progressively felt like, all right, this is my match of the night. And then like the next match would come on and I'd be like, oh wait, nope, this is my match of the night. And every match seemed to outdo the one before it and everything else that went on.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, we're going to turn to our Dreamwave alternative title match here. All three men's matches were all championship matches, by the way. 4 out of the 6 matches on the card were championship matches. All matches included a champion in some form or fashion. And the final match was the Battle Royal to give the briefcase, which gives you a shot at a championship. AKA, it is basically a championship. So everything basically had championship implications through it. But the Dreamwave alternative title match, Kody Laynie, the champion, taking on Christian Rose. I'm loving Kody Laynie more and more every time I get to watch him work, and I'm very excited to see him work a couple of times up here in the Northeast over the next couple of days. He's doing a bit of a New England swing for the holiday season here. So I'm very excited to go ahead and sit down over the weekend and watch a couple of these matches that he's in. Coming out to Dolly Parton is still a choice that I absolutely adore in the wrestling world. The pink gear is just top notch. Love it. Always love a guy except Bret Hart willing to come out in pink gear. Because fuck Bret Hart, that hater. That's mostly because Bobby will be.
I was gonna say that goes along with what you stand for.
No. I hate things based on, what's going on. He just holds grudges for 50 years and still just basically randomly be asked a question about how the weather is and say, fuck Bill Goldberg. Like,
I mean, the Goldberg one, I justify. The other ones, no.
Yeah. After all these years, you should forgive and forget. But anyways, Christian Rose versus Kody Laynie. I love this match. This was worked so well. These guys had, and again, it was such a difference to what we just watched. It was 2 guys beating each other down, trying to find a way for Christian Rose to win the one championship he hasn't won in Dreamwave and Uprising. I really enjoyed that. These 2 had really good chemistry. They work well together. The whole vibe of this match changed the way that the whole show felt. Kody thought he won the match and didn't. That was really fun. But at the end of the day, I think just the idea to get the roll up and then not just like roll back onto the ropes or grab like the bottom rope. He put both hands on the fucking top rope and just held it down. Like, there's cheating and then there's that. And it's just chef's kiss to make it work where the referee can't see it, because the referee is a vital part of that. Like when you're grabbing the top rope, like the referee has to be an active participant in making sure that they're in a certain position. And to be able to do that, to make it work, to not make it feel corny and stupid, and to give a reason why Christian Rose doesn't win this championship. And having it on a night where it's like, oh, I didn't win? Well, great. There's a battle royal later tonight where if I win that, I get to call my shot and get whatever I want. Like, it's just a great storytelling mechanism to get to the main event where we know we're going to see Christian Rose later on in the night now because he didn't win. And it's something I think that I wish WWE would do more of with the Royal Rumble, where I think you should have title matches early in the night where, like a world champion, where you take a title off of a world champion. And then you can be like, well, it's the Royal Rumble. And then there they show up at like number 26 or number 27, or even earlier, like number 4. Be like, well, look, I got myself in the Royal Rumble because I lost my title and I want my title back. Like, I love the idea of that. And that's what we got here. I'm not surprised that Cody Lane got the win. I think that the big push for Cody Lane right now makes sense. But I expected Christian Rose to get the win. I thought it would have been nice to continue to get the older vet to get the win, to get the championship, to complete the set. But then again, I'm one of those guys who likes to see people complete the set. Like, my 2026 wrestling wish list thing for the WWE is see Sheamus win the Intercontinental title, because I want him to fulfill that last spot on his thing. Yeah. He's won King of the Ring. He's won Money in the Bank. He's won it all. The only thing he's never won is that Intercontinental Championship. It's like, I want that. I want that for him. It's on my 2026 wrestling wish list. What do you think of this match?
At first, when they started, I thought, oh no, this is gonna take a dip for me because I just went from like a high flying match to this, and I thought at first it was gonna be slow, so it's not gonna be my type of match. So I was a little bit concerned at first. Once they started, they really picked up on it, and I like the fact that it just like the action kept going from there. It didn't take the dip that I thought it was gonna take, and I felt better about it once they started too. I like how Cody's trying to use the bandana to choke Christian at one point. They're like, he's not even supposed to be doing that. So that made me laugh too. Um, that Boston crap, that almost felt like it was a Jericho at that point too, the way he was going, and they said Boston crap, and I went, I don't think so. But yeah, I like the chemistry they had here with each other too. And like you said, I just kept thinking which one of these two is gonna be in the battle royal later on that's gonna lose the match. That wasn't my mindset. That whoever's gonna be there, it's probably gonna be there later. But I was surprised to see Cody in the battle royal as well. I feel like that took a spot up into somebody else being that he's champion already. That was the only thing. For me, like you said, it's like anybody that lost the matches, it makes sense for them to be in the battle royal and get that title shot later. So that's the only thing that didn't make sense to me out of this match. I did like the way that he pinned him. The angle is so clever because at the same time the referee has to be looking down for the pin, so he's not looking up to see the ropes him hanging from the ropes either at the same time. So I thought it was very clever the way they did it. And again, it's one of those things with timing that you had to have that certain timing for it to look fine and not to look like the referee just like it's looking or anything like that, like they missed it, because they literally cannot see it based on the angle they're in. So I feel like that made sense as well.
Yeah, it was a fun little thing. There's a lot of good stuff in this. Math Champion coming in and saying that Sheamus hasn't won any spray tan competitions either. This is true. He definitely is not the champion based on the spray tan the index. But not everybody has to be DJ Powers level of terrible spray tan, or to put it in a respect that most other people will know, Braun Breaker levels of spray tan, because that man uses way too much spray tan. And then, like I said, we move from this to championship titles in this match, championship implications. And also, one of the more commentary mentioned it more than once. I thought it was really interesting in this. We had an AEW contracted talent wrestling a WWE ID Women's Champion while also having in the Dreamwave Alternative Champion and one of the best independent wrestlers in the country, Shazza McKenzie, in this match. It was Megan Bayne and Rebecca J. Scott taking on Laynie Luck and Shazza McKenzie, who apparently have been a tag team before. I was unaware of that. But they were announced not only as a tag team, but they even had a tag team name of The Collab. And I'm like,
makes sense.
I feel like there's something there that I'm missing with this, because like I think of collab and I think of like content creation, and I'm like, I don't know where Shazza, and like I can see Shazza in some of the other female talents being like the collab, like a Nixie XS or a Cora Jade, people like that. But it didn't make much sense with me with Laynie Luck. Maybe that's
They
just where
do
my mind
they do
instantly
photo
goes.
shoots together though. So I know it makes sense.
Okay, I didn't know Laynie Luck did photo shoots like that.
Yeah.
I know Shazza does. I know a bunch of other people
Mm-hmm.
do. Based on making sure I tag them on Twitter, making sure I'm getting the right one. So I always read people's bios to make sure it's the right talent.
Yep.
You'll be surprised how easy it is to search somebody's name and then accidentally
Mm-hmm.
tag the wrong person or a fan page.
And then you can't fix it.
No, because fucking Twitter is the worst platform in the world. Doesn't have a fucking edit option.
No. And if you
Um,
even if you edit it, it doesn't look fine because then it'll be like, there's a new version of this too. I'm like, I don't want people to know that I edit this, okay? Instagram doesn't like wrap me out like that.
I could have sworn you said something earlier that people try to avoid. No, it's a collab. It's a collab.
Yeah.
No, I thought this was a really interesting thing. Like, after having watched this match, the one thing, and I'm going to let you talk about the match itself first, but the one thing is, I want to see more of these tag teams in other places now. Like, Laynie Luck and Shazza McKenzie, I want to see them all over the place as a women's tag team. I want AEW to bring in Rebecca J. Scott and replace whoever Megan Bayne's tag team partners on AEW with Rebecca J. Scott.
Penelope, she's injured.
Who is?
Penelope, it's our partner usually.
That's fine. We can very easily replace Penelope anyways. Like, let's be honest here.
No.
Danny Duggan does not show me the Danny Duggan. I don't know what or who a Danny Duggan is. I'm sure Astrid can inform me later on. Astrid, what do you think of this women's tag match?
Well, I love the fact that Megan and RJS have the matching colors on the gears too, the red and white too. So I was like, that was really on point. I know Laynie and Shazza had like a pinkish to them, but they also had those gears before I seen them, so they weren't necessarily like matching for this. But yeah, they make sense to me as a tag team, especially with the name they have too. The other thing is, I like overall the story here because Megan has the briefcase, which is basically their version of Money in the Bank. So if you see it this way, RJS with their partner is a champion, but we also have Laynie Luck as champion as well. So I like that storytelling that they have either like she's partners with RJS, but she could go for RJS's title at the same time because technically she could cash in like the Money in the Bank way on this. So I thought that was super interesting with that story going on because even at the end of the match they mentioned it, they're like, oh, they're partners here and they're getting along tonight, but we don't know how long that's gonna last. And I love how commentary really dives into that storyline, particularly in this tag team match here. But I do love Laynie and Shazza as a team. I definitely want to see that happening more often. That was so well done. Um, and then Rebecca and RJS, I hadn't seen them tag before, to my knowledge, so it's pretty interesting watching them together. I like the fact that you can tell that Laynie and Shazza have been teaming more often because they really had that psychology for tag team wrestling more down there and more done well because they kept separating RJS from Megan Bayne for, I would say, most of the match, particularly. So and they kept having her on their side of the ring, so it's pretty interesting when you can tell like who has more experience being a tag team because of the way they play the psychology within the match. And I feel like that was what they had done exactly here. And once Megan came in, that hot tag came in and she did everything like that. She was such a powerhouse. I did love the follow away slam that she did to both of them there, and how she even used RJS and dropped RJS on top of the other two on top of it, so that was pretty fun to watch. But yeah, I again, it's like Megan is such a powerhouse, and to be able to have this match and she was able to showcase that, I love that. So it was pretty fun to watch. Um, but yeah, at the end we have RGS and Megan winning. But like I said, I like the fact that they're raising their hands and celebrating and everything. But commentary is like, you never know what's gonna happen next time because they're tag team partners tonight, but not always.
Yeah, no. Megan Bayne would be high on my list of like if I were doing a year-end list of like top independent women stars. Megan Bayne and Billie Starkz would be on that list. I don't consider them independent stars because they're signed to AEW money contracts. Like, I don't consider them independent wrestlers. Like, they get to work indie shows, but I don't consider them independent stars. But they would be on the top of that list because Megan Bayne is so fucking good at everything she does. Like, she is sensational. Her gimmick, she looks the part, she does the part, she does everything she needs to do. She's already back over in Japan right now, wrestling and cutting promos in both English and in Japanese. It's fantastic. Her and Bozilla, I can't wait for that match because I don't know if that singles match has happened yet, but they keep teasing it all the time. Like every time I see Megan go to Japan, it's always like her and Bozilla, and I'm like, just to see more of that because those two are up there. Megan came in like a pitch on fire in this match. Like she was, like you said, doing everything to everybody. My favorite thing was like you talked about the double fall away slam with like one on her back, one on the front of her, doing the double fall away slam. That was great, but not as great as Laynie Luck German suplexing Megan Bayne, and then Megan Bayne just standing up and suplexing Laynie Luck without Laynie Luck even turning around, just grabbing her by the waist and just throwing her over her head. Mwah! Sensational. I love everything that Megan Bayne does. Megan Bayne's F5 is probably unfortunately still only the second best F5 in the business. Like, we don't like him. We don't talk about him. We don't talk about Bruno, but like he still has the best version of that move. But hers is not a far off. However, RJS does need to watch a little bit more Seth Rollins and maybe some Austin Theory too, because that stomp it's a bit iffy on her. I know she's normally a submission finisher, and that's probably why, but I didn't love the stomp to get the win. I like it just like you had the big F5 and then the stomp was just kind of like there. And it's like, all right, they get the win. They do what they need to do. I love this match. I want to see more of this. I want to see like a Gabby Forza and a teammate of hers taking on like a Megan Bayne and a Rebecca J. Scott. I want to see more of Laynie Luck and Shazza McKenzie versus any women's tag team or any tag team period. At the top of my list for that would be like a Becca and Aaron Rourke thing, because I know they got the gay best friends gimmick that they do as a tag team. I'm like, I think that would be really fun with Shazza McKenzie and Laynie Luck. I think there's a lot of fun and interesting teams that you could put them up against. I think we need to do more of that. Of course, Melball does love Bayne. And, they're birthday twins. That's very nice. I was going to say, with all the time Megan Bayne spends in Japan, I'm not a huge surprise that Melball is a big fan. Bobby's here. He got to miss my Bret Hart slander. He'll have to go back and give us a watch on YouTube later on to catch the Bret Hart slander I gave earlier. But yes, this tag team match was great. And again, this is where commentary really got over the point of both the AEW WWE ID thing, which I think is really interesting on the independent circuit when you have these WWE ID talents, is you get to have them going up against AEW talent where you've got to conveniently find ways to make this work so that no parent company is too upset. Like Shazza McKenzie takes the fall here because I guarantee they don't want Megan Bayne pinning Laynie Luck for obvious reasons. Uh-oh. I mean, Bret Hart is not the best there is. Bret Hart is not the best there ever was. And Bret Hart is certainly not going to be the best there ever will be. So, fuck that. We move on to Becca coming out for a sort of celebration where she announces that her newfound championship has allowed her to hire Man as her bodyguard. No name, just Man. She introduces him as Man. And then it was Marge at first, but then she had another name for her when she introduced her, when she was telling her to write things down, when she was slandering the crowd about how poorly dressed they were and how they need to up the dress code at Dreamwave shows.
Yeah.
All this, by the way, chef's kiss, Becca. You're fantastic in all of this. This is why Becca is some of the. Oh wow, I'm really. We got Bobby. We got SCG. These are typical. Then we got this.
Dang.
I've upset all of the Canadians. All three of them in our chat. I've upset all three of them. That's impressive work for me. That's haterade at a new level. But she says that she doesn't have a match tonight, so she's going to give us an acoustic Becca performance, which Bobby would have loved, but thankfully we're saved by Brittnie Brooks. And Brittnie Brooks comes out and says, look, I don't have a match either tonight. And I was the first ever Women's Dreamwave champion, and an injury took the title away from me. Now, She does neglect to mention that she's had a couple of opportunities to regain this title since coming back from injury and has been unsuccessful. But I understand her point, and we get a fantastic match out of it. Brittnie Brooks versus Becca for the Dreamwave Women's Championship. I mean, Astrid, go ahead and talk about this one. Again, it's women's wrestling, so I think I have to default to you and see what you think about these things.
The only thing I wasn't a fan of was like the promo before this really started is that Brittany's calling her a chicken and everything, getting everybody chanting the chicken thing. I'm not a fan of stuff like that because it's just like it's so old, I guess. It's just like we've heard it before, so that part of it I wasn't a fan of. But I like having Brittany coming out and shooting her shot the way we do, as the great Ella J would tell me. So it's like, why not shoot your shot? I did like the fact that while this whole match is happening, Becca still has a microphone in her hand and she's still trying to sing in between everything she's doing. I don't know how she does it. I really don't know. But every time she did something, she had to keep singing her song, and even she was, it continued on with the lyrics on. Um, I thought that was clever at the same time because she's like, I did promise a concert, so she's like, I'm gonna deliver the match and the concert at once. It's chef's kiss to you because that was very clever. Um, yeah, it's like this one was interesting for me because it was a lot of Brittany being outside and Becca being outside. There was a one point that Brittany was hanging. I don't know if it was the top rope or the middle rope, but then I was to say Shazza. Becca did a drop kick to her. She was hanging from the ropes and then she fell down. And even her coming up with a submission at one point as well. But I feel like Brittany didn't have a lot of offense here, which was very surprising to me. That Becca was in control, like I wouldn't say more than half of this match, if anything. So that part was really surprising. But I was hoping that at the end Brittany would come in and try to steal the win somehow, but she didn't. We had a backslide from Becca that was really well done, by the way. It was a beautiful one, to be honest. And she still retains the title.
Yep. By hook or by crook, Becca continues to retain this championship. I liked the idea that Becca got almost all the offense in this. I mean, Becca wrestled once, and granted, she did wrestle Shayna Baszler the night before because this is the night after the Uprising show that we covered 2 weeks ago. So the night before, she did wrestle Shayna Baszler. But remember, Brittnie Brooks was not only in the opening match with Kylie Alexa on the last show, but then she was also in the Uprising Dreamwave Women's As Good as Gold champion battle royal match, where she was in there for a significant amount of time. She was a mid numbers entrant into that and lasted towards the end. So she's obviously at the end of her physical rope. So I think it made a lot of sense to put Becca in charge here. Becca using the head of security man to go ahead and distract the referee when Brittnie Brooks had hit the Brittnie bitch to get the win. But she gets the 1, she gets the 2, she gets the 3, but there's no ref. It's just the fans chanting it. I thought that was great. Becca does get that beautiful backslide that you mentioned to get the win. I really like this. Again, I think Becca is such an interesting character to do, and to have that character work on such a level across the board on the independent scene is so great. I think Brittany is more in line for television wrestling success than a character like Becca. For the sole fact is, I think, like the Joe Hendry character, at some point the Becca thing's going to run out. And I don't know if there's enough. As great of a wrestler as she is, I don't know if there's enough there with her after the Becca character to continue going forth. There's going to be, like Bobby says, it has a shelf life. Like, that character has a shelf life. And I love Joe Hendry. Don't get me wrong. I believe in Joe Hendry, the whole turn thing. I think that's great. But at some point, the whole shtick runs out. And I think Joe Hendry and Becca are both in that same boat of, I wonder if they have enough of themselves other than these viral gimmicks to continue to get over. I think Joe Hendry, I've seen more of Joe Hendry outside of the Joe Hendry gimmick to think I think he can do it. I've not seen any of Becca outside of the gimmick to know that she can do it. But again, this gimmick can continue to live forever on the independent scene. So if she doesn't want to get signed to TNA, WWE, AEW, and she just wants to do shots for them here and there when they're in town, then I think that makes sense and that works. Otherwise, I worry that there might not be enough of a shelf life to go ahead and hold it. But again, this match was better than the match before it because, like I said, I saw something interesting here. I saw something fun here, and it gave me something different. And Brittnie Brooks versus Becca wasn't something I was expecting to. I'd looked at the card and somehow forgotten that this was the women's match, the women's title match on this card. Like, I knew Becca defended the title, but for some reason I thought it was somebody else on the show that got the match. I didn't realize it was Brittnie Brooks. And I'm becoming a bigger and bigger Brittnie Brooks fan every time I watch her wrestle. There's something there, and she's now that next one where I'm like, why is she unsigned? How is she still out here grinding the indies? And so now that Maya World got AEW All Elite, which, by the way, congratulations. I love it. They listened to us. Even though I don't like AEW, Tony Khan watched the show last week when we reviewed Reality Wrestling, where I talked about how her and Hyan needed to be signed. And days later, Tony Khan listened and did it. So now, Tony, Gabe Sapolsky, if you're out there listening too, you might be listening, your WWE ID. Brittnie Brooks, let's get her under contract somewhere here. Whether it be WWE ID, NXT, AEW, Ring of Honor. Let's get Brittnie Brooks signed. She's the next one. Going to start moving these petitions along. So if you have people you want signed, let me know, and I'll see if I can take it under advisement if they'll be the next one once Brittnie Brooks gets signed. Any more thoughts on this match? Or are we ready to move on to essentially the main event of the show? It's not the main event of the non-battle royal persuasion.
Pretty much, yeah. No, all good.
All right. We have the Dreamwave Men's World Title match being contested under First Blood rules. Oh, that's a mouthful. We have the Dreamwave Men's Champion Channing Thomas on loan from the Dallas Wrestling Office, taking on Connor Hopkins, part of the Curse, with another shitty hand gimmick bullshit. They do have a cool t-shirt, though, that I might have to pick up. Because that black and pink t-shirt that they've got, that Curse t-shirt that I saw like 5 times during the Battle Royal, because every single one of them were in it. And they all wore that damn shirt. And they all wore that damn shirt to the ring. I might have to go look. I might have to talk to somebody in Illinois to go pick me up that shirt, because I really, really like that shirt. SCG, we'll get to that at the end of this match. We'll get to that question at the end of this. I want to say I love this First Blood match, because it wasn't your standard, I'm just going to beat you up and make you bleed. And it wasn't, they didn't do everything the typical First Blood match way. Like, they were utilizing the spike from the Trick or Treat show, which I thought was really cool. They utilized the metal stairs, which are special to Dreamwave, the special type of metal stairs. Like, we all know the WWE and the AEW style, like, aluminum metal stairs. Like, they have this jagged, like, regular, buy it at, like, Home Depot kind of metal stair that looks brutal to use as a weapon. The turnbuckle post, the chair. I loved the way they went about doing this without needing to have a ton of, like, unnecessary objects. Like, everything in this match made sense to the story of the match. The spike and the chair were both the same ones that they used in October. Obviously, they're not probably the exact same things, but you're utilizing those pieces as a storytelling element. Using the metal underneath the turnbuckle pad, I think, is a really smart and cool idea. It makes sense in the terms of a wrestling match, and it's not just let's find the crazy shit that we can have to make people bleed kind of thing. I thought this was fantastic. Connor Hopkins is so damn good at being a shitbag heel. So good at it. I love how dirty, rotten scoundrel heel he is. He's so talented at it. And it's so weird seeing a devil's kiss and not wanting to cheer for it. Like, he does that devil's kiss on that chair. I'm like, boo! Boo you! Boo this man! I'm Dave Chappelle in that little gif that you always see. Boo this man, boo him. Oh, I hated it. But he's so good at it. Like, it's Stephanie Vaquer levels of good. Channing Thomas, seeing Channing Thomas in another way, in another light. Like, we've just seen, like, whether babyface or heel, Channing Thomas is just standard, really good wrestler. And he never really does much more than that. Seeing a vindictive, like, angry, dastardly side of him was sensational. Loved every bit of this match from beginning to end. There was no real outside interference other than the managers, which made sense. Like, I figured it was going to be like 3-on-1. I thought it was going to be all three members of the Curse trying to help him get this title back. So when it was literally just Thomas versus Hopkins throughout this whole match, I was shocked. I was just waiting for the Curse to come out and ruin this and give him the title back, and it didn't. Channing Thomas gets the win eventually, beating this poor man to death on that turnbuckle. Loved it. 5 CPA shirts from me on this match. Loved it to death. 5 CPA shirts.
I think one of my favorite parts of this match, though, it's like how we started with the turnbuckle part of it, and then we ended with the turnbuckle aspect of it too. It's one of those things like I always say, like, if you set it up, you go through it. It kind of felt that way because it just like we're gonna set it up at the beginning here. We're gonna go all around, use everything around the area here, but then at the end it went back and it led to the turnbuckle area again. I love how Channing kept hitting Connor's head on the turnbuckle, and it's like kind of like stopping, checking, nothing, and then I'm gonna keep going until it happens. And I was like, that was so interesting. There was so many points that I went, he has to be bleeding at this point, right? And then they would check it and nothing. I'm like, how? I felt like he was superhuman. And he's like, every time they hit it with something, nothing.
I can tell you the trick. Like, there's an actual trick to this. If you don't want to bleed and you know something's going to try to make you bleed, it's Vaseline. Vaseline helps protect the skin so that it doesn't rip and tear. And that's what it is that you do this.
But it was so interesting. I've seen so many points. I'm like, it has to be now, right? And then it wouldn't happen. I'm like, maybe now? Now. And then it kept not happening. But I like especially that spot at the end with the turnbuckle. I thought that was super interesting. And even then, the bleed wasn't even that much. But it still made that impact once they saw they're like, we're done with it. I did like the one with the steel steps too, because I realized it wasn't the steel steps like the reused version of it. They were so different. I like how Sadie was the one holding it as as Channing kept hitting him with it. So I thought that was super fun. Like you said, I kept thinking like maybe at one point everybody else from the Chris would show up and do some kind of assist somehow. He has more people on his side than Channing does, so I thought that would be a factor into it. So I was very surprised when it wasn't. But overall, again, a fun match, and I like the fact that even though they had limited space, they still used everything around them before they went back to the turnbuckle and in the ring when the match ended.
Yeah, like I said, I thought this was really cool. I thought it did all the things you expect for a First Blood match, but it also didn't do them in such a stereotypical way. Like, here are the beats that you follow to do a First Blood match. This is the things you do when you do it. I thought it really did a really good job of telling the story they wanted to tell in this story, in this match. And I don't think anybody can take this particular match and go, okay, we're going to use this framework for our First Blood match and make it work, because everything was special to this match. I think that was really cool and interesting. And by the way, this is my favorite match of the night. This is by far my match of the night. Like I said, every match has kind of got better and better, and then there was the Battle Royal. I have my issues with Battle Royal, so we'll talk about that in a minute. We've got some comments coming in. A lot of them are based off of this. So S2G asked, what are gimmicks in wrestling that you both don't like? I don't necessarily hate particular gimmicks. Like, I think gimmicks are all in the eye of the beholder and all in the talent doing them. Jillian Hall had a bad gimmick of being a singer, but you have people like Joe Hendry and Becca who can pull that off. There's no reason why the Joe Hendry popping out of every place, gimmick should work, but it does. I don't think there are bad gimmicks in professional wrestling in any way, shape, or form. I think you need to do a good job with a bad gimmick, and I think anybody can do that. I mean, you got to remember, I grew up watching wrestling in the early 90s, in the New Generation era, where we had a wrestling monk, we had a wrestling plumber, we had a wrestling taxman, we had a guy who made coffins for a living. Like, there's a reason why a lot of places call the 1990s in WWE the occupation era, because everybody had to be a wrestler and have a job. Yes, you had a garbage man and a hockey player. Like, you had, everybody had a you had the hog man, you know, Henry O. Godwin, whose name spelled hog. And you had Phineas I. Godwin, who spelled pig. Like, there aren't bad gimmicks. They're just people who can't pull off gimmicks. And I think that there's a kind of a difference. No, I think the $1 Million Man wasn't necessarily like an occupation gimmick. He's just a rich dude who screwed people out of money. Kama Mustafa was that first generation of the Brock Lesnar's and the Ronda Rouseys, that MMA style fighter. Like, when he was Kama Mustafa, he was the supreme fighting machine. It was during that period of time where the UFC was just starting to catch on, and Vince was trying to milk that product for anything he could. See, Tatanka's a hard one, because as a kid, I loved Tatanka. Like, I look back at it now and go, I don't know if it was in the best taste, but even that wasn't the first. It wasn't even the first of that, because you had Chief Jay Strongbow way before that in the 80s in WWF. Like, Tatanka wasn't like, you know, or Native American as some people. No, like, it's not even that. Like, he wasn't even the first of that. Like, it's a gimmick that he did, but like, he wasn't the first. Doink the Clown's a gimmick that should never have worked, but did. It was great. The gimmick of Jerry King Lawler shouldn't have worked as well as it did, but it kind of did. Yeah, Tatanka got Mel into wrestling. I loved Tatanka growing up as a kid. I would do the warpath around my room when he would do when he would Hulk up and Tatanka up and do that warpath thing where nothing could hurt him. Like, gimmicks are as bad or as good as the talent doing them. Nothing. Yes, little Ed on the warpath. You should be terrified. I don't know. I honestly can't think of a gimmick that I absolutely hate because of the gimmick. Because, like I said, I think, no, you know what? No, I have one. Mm-hmm. Santina. Yes. Santina is the one that I can think of now off the top of my head. It took me forever
especially when the women's Battle Royal, whatever it was called.
The WrestleMania 25th anniversary Battle Royal. Yeah. No, that is that. Because, like, Jillian Hall, like, we bring up the Jillian Hall gimmick, and it's like, yeah, she was a bad singer, but like, the gimmick wasn't bad. I thought she did a really good job at being a bad singer, whether that was real or fake. Like, I think the gimmick worked. It did what it needed to do.
Another one. I didn't realize it until later as an adult. So, because obviously, think about it this way. I started watching wrestling 20 years ago at this point. So I was a lot younger. So I didn't think about it the same way until later. But one that I hated as an adult, Eugene. Hated every bit of it. That one and Vicky Guerrero. Because Vicky, it was so forced at the same time, not in a good way. Of like, oh, she's a heel, so we gotta boo her, sort of thing. That wasn't it for me. I was like, I want her off my screen. She's taking time away from people that could get it instead of her. What is she doing here to begin with? So I was like, no, I'm not a fan.
I mean, I see what you're saying. At the same time, like, I get the Vicky Guerrero thing. It was Vince. Vince was, believe it or not, one good thing he did was he brought her on TV to continue to pay her the Eddie Guerrero salary in order to continue that family having a living. Like, I loved to hate Vicky Guerrero. I'll agree with you on the Eugene one. Like, looking back to Eugene, like, I loved Eugene at the time. I thought it was great. But like, looking back, it's like, it's not great. It's not great.
Terrible taste.
Yeah. I think, Bobby has a good one here. STG, based on that question, do you mean like indie level gimmicks or big company gimmicks? He knows of a poorly trained clown gimmick here that he personally finds cringy. But again, like, there's a difference between like cringy and bad. Like a bad gimmick, like a gimmick that I hate because of like what it is the Sam Adonis MAGA gimmick. He wrestles in Mexico under the gimmick that he's a Trump supporter, the full MAGA, the whole spiel of being a MAGA guy. Like, that's a gimmick he did in Mexico. It's a bad gimmick, but at the same time, like, I think if done properly, it can draw real heel heat. So it makes it a good gimmick. I'm not gonna say gimmicks are, it's really individual. Like I said, I'll agree with Astrid. Like, I think we both came up with one really, really bad one, which is between the two of us, Eugene and Santina.
Yeah, that's what I can think about right now, at least. It's like when you're on the spot, you think of like the people, but it's like when you're on the spot, you forget about everything you know from before. So I had to think about it through the years. But okay, it wasn't a gimmick, but more of a storyline. Was the Piggy James one? I hated that one with a passion.
Yeah, I mean,
That
like,
was the one.
I could, we could do an entire show on bad wrestling, storylines from WWE, and we could break it down by era because there's a lot of them. Like bad gimmicks, like people that didn't get over with a bad gimmick, like people like Kevin Thorne, with the vampire gimmick with Ariel, didn't get over on ECW. Mordecai didn't get over. Like, there are bad gimmicks everywhere, but like, you know.
Oh, and the Kelly ECW one, because I didn't know about it until later. She was
Extreme
barely
Expose.
19. Yeah, she was barely 19 years old when she did that. I was like, she was a baby at that point still when she was doing that. That's creepy at the same time. So I was like, that one's another one that really like
from the mind of Vince McMahon. Oh boy. Like I said, I loved Waylon Mercy. And again, for those that don't remember, there's a reason why Mercy the Buzzard, the whole look of Bray Wyatt's cult leader persona, is based on Waylon Mercy. Waylon Mercy actually sat down with Bray to talk to him about the Waylon Mercy character and the things that worked and the things that didn't. Like, Dan Spivey actually met with Bray because Bray knew Dan Spivey from his years working with his dad, Mike Rotunda. So, like, there's Waylon Mercy is a whole different can of worms. Like, that was a fantastic, like, the gimmick never went anywhere, but Dan Spivey was fucking fantastic with everything he did. And I think if Dan Spivey, like Bobby says, if Dan Spivey would have been doing that gimmick 10, 15 years later, I think he would have been, it would have been sensational. But we're slightly off track. And speaking of gimmicks, we'll talk about a few of them here, especially the one who wins, because we have the Good as Gold. We have the Good as Gold Battle Royal here. I keep trying to call it a gauntlet. It's not a gauntlet. They should make it a gauntlet match. I think that would be much better. But anyways, we have the Good as Gold Battle Royal. 30 individuals. Oh boy, this took way too fucking long. My suggestion would be cut this down to 12 and stop putting trainees in it. We talked about this with the Uprising one, how due to both Lodestone and the fact that there were 30 women that needed to put in this thing, that there were a lot of inexperienced young women in that battle royal that got exposed a bit more than they probably would have otherwise. Here we had less trainees, more names we didn't know, but less people. They were like, these are trainees from this place. It was more like, oh, here's this person from other promotion in the Midwest that we've never heard of. It can be. Ashley doesn't like it when I get off track. She wants me on the track. I'm going to go over the list of people that were in this match in order because, thankfully for me, Dreamwave tweeted out the individuals who came out as they came out. So I have an accurate list. I just need to pull it up. So give me 1 second. As I...
1 second. Yeah, it's on my notes too.
Do you have the actual order on there too?
If you'll see it, yeah, every time it says somebody enters, I think it's the
Well,
right
yeah,
one.
no, but it's mixed in with all the other notes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in order, we had AMB, Marcus Mathers, Jay Leone, Stephen Wolf of the Curse, Jordan Cross. Shockingly, after the finale of where I said she almost broke her goddamn leg the night before, Erica Demia comes out number 6. 12 Gaige, new tag team champion 12 Gaige, enters the Rumble at number 7. Trent Wiggly, we'll get to him. Florida Man, we're going to try to forget that ever existed.
Even I want to forget it.
Alex Vara, Donovan Dijak, Cody Kaiser, Hunter Holdcraft, the other half of the brand new tag team champions, Hartenbauer, the goatest of all goats, Bobby Orlando and Bobby Jr., Alley Catch, Ezio Orlandi, Mikey, just Mikey. We'll talk about him.
I was going to say his name is just Mikey, not just Mikey, but the name Mikey alone.
Yeah. Like he doesn't have an in-ring name. He doesn't have a last name. He's just Mikey. Sean Logan, Dan the Dad, Matt Hatter, Cody Lane, Cody Coco Lane comes out. The Polish punk Nick Kolowski. Those Polish names always trip me up, and I don't like it. Eroy St. Clair, Fallen Gray, Christian Rose, Rafael Quintero, Connor Hopkins, Theseus of the ship of Theseus, and Amina Belmont is number 30. Whew. All right. We're going to talk about some bad things first, and then talk about some fun and interesting, cool things. All right, Astrid. Trent Wiggly, the surfer gimmick, and Florida Man. Since you come from the land of sunshine, what in the blue fucking hell is this crap?
I had no idea. Once I saw the name, I went, "Oh no, this is gonna be terrible, isn't it?" And then he came out with his whole like beachy outfit. I was like, "Oh no," I had a feeling it would be this way.
Yeah, this was bad. Speaking of bad gimmicks, Cody Kaiser comes out, wrestling's pitch man. I didn't know there could be a worse version of Simon Dean, but there is. I didn't think there could be a worse version of Riddick Moss, but there is. Remember when Riddick Moss was doing that like supplements thing? So you have Cody Kaiser trying to sell the Toys for Tots raised on the toy drive to the people in the venue. He tried to team up with Dijak by giving him a box of OxyClean. Oh. And by the way,
I like Dijak's reaction though, of like, the way he made fun of him was like, I got you, and then just throws it in. But the fact that he didn't realize that the powder was gonna be all over the ring, and all of a sudden he's like trying to take it away with his jacket.
He's beating Marcus Mathers with his jacket just so he can get the stuff away, because Mathers is doing this like he's 3 feet away from where the box landed, and all the smoke's just going in Mathers' face. And if anybody's ever breathed in like OxyClean or like Tide, it's the worst thing in the world. So you gotta imagine Mathers' like eyes are like just like dripping with this. Oh, it's terrible for him. Erica Demia like crawls like halfway across the ring to get away under the ropes. Oh god. There was a handful of guys. Mikey. Oh my god, Mikey. I will say at least Florida Man and Surfer Dude, Whiplash, whatever the fuck his Trent Wiggly, whatever the fuck his garbage name was. At least these guys are trained wrestlers who are doing their thing, and this seems to be a gimmick that they do elsewhere. Mikey seems like a guy who showed up to put the ring together, and they were like, well, fuck, we're one short. Mikey, get in the ring. Like, this is I show speed, but worse.
Oh no.
Like, the only thing he was able to do was a shoulder tackle. Like, he had 5 real professionals run into him to sell a shoulder tackle. And his name is just Mike. And like, I can't get over the fact that it's just Mikey. Like, not just Mikey, because as Bobby says, just Mikey would be a cool name. But the fact that it's just 5 letters, Mikey, for no reason. It's like he's the child of a fucking Spirit Squad member. Just all right. All right, we're done. We're done with the bad. We're done with the bad. Is there any other bad that you have that you want to talk about in this match?
Let's see. I think that was the only thing. I want to point it out. It's not bad. It's just funny. In commentary, pointed out at one point, Hardenbauer's in the corner with Alley Catch, and she's barely hitting him, just like. And they're like, yeah, they're pretending to hit each other in the backside, in the corner, so nobody goes after them. And you can see she's kind of going like this, but she's looking at the front and elsewhere all the time, just like, just pretending to be hitting him. And I thought it was funny though.
I thought it was great. I thought that was a riot. I had it in my notes and shit. No, we're not interviewing him. We're never talking about him again. It's done. I loved that with Alley Catch and Hartenbauer. I thought Hartenbauer had a really cool storyline throughout this entire thing when he was in there, especially with the Dijak stuff, with the Buried Alive match that we had in October. I thought that I thought Hartenbauer might be winning this thing for a majority of this match. I thought Hartenbauer was the one who's going to win it. Until we had the final 5, and 3 of them were the curse with Stephen Wolf, Connor Hopkins, and Amina Belmont. I was like, oh, well, Hartenbauer is going to win. And then it was Hartenbauer, Bobby Orlando, and the curse. And I'm like, well, shit, we know how this is going to go. I thought the inclusion of the women in this was fantastic. Alley Catch, Eric Academia, and Amina Belmont are fantastic. I thought including them.
Fallen Gray.
Fallen Gray. I can't believe I forgot Fallen Gray. She's great too. I think she has the best wing-based gimmick than anybody else in professional wrestling right now, period. And I know that means that I'm talking negatively about Mandy Rose, but the best wing-based gimmick in all of professional wrestling is Fallen Gray. Because I'll reiterate this by saying Megan Bayne doesn't have a wing-based gimmick. She's like Greek goddess kind of levels. Like, it's a different gimmick. So they're on different sides here. No, I thought the 4 women in this match were fantastic. I thought they were well chosen. I would have replaced Eric Academia on this one night because obviously that leg was not in good shape and she was having a tough time.
She was in the corner, like resting most of the time until they basically threw her out at some point.
Yeah, she didn't last very long. She was number 2 the night before, and she was the last one eliminated. She had that horrific thing with her leg. Like, I think they just should have switched her to somebody else. Like, you've got a couple of the women on the roster. How cool would it have been to bring Megan Bayne back out and have her have 2 as good as gold briefcases? Like, that would have been cool. I don't love battle royals to begin with. The Royal Rumble has a spot of like vintage nostalgia to me, but at the end of the day, a battle royal is just a really shitty wrestling match in general. Nobody's really trying for a majority of the match. There's too many spots to remember. You only get 4 or 5 really memorable moments out of the whole match anyways, and this damn thing took an hour and like 10 minutes to do. Like, at the end of the day, it's they're all too long. They're all pointless, and half the match is people just like holding onto the ropes and trying to push people over half-heartedly. And that's why the alley catch Hartenbauer thing made me laugh so much, is because that's literally what happens in every single battle royal match. But like they just happen to give a reason and like a logic to it that I thought was really cute and clever.
Yeah, I actually enjoy the battle royals. It just when you're taking notes the way we do it, I feel like it's very complicated to keep up with it. That's the only thing. There was at one point, so I think my most negative point about all this is that there was a lot of moments within the match itself that the ring was full, and you can see that people had to be careful when they were doing their moves of like hitting that certain person they're supposed to hit, but not touching everybody else. And commentary kept pointing out, oh yeah, for those that have been here from the beginning, like of course they're gonna be resting in the corner and saving themselves into the end or whatever it is. I was like, we know that happens, but I wouldn't point that out in commentary to the fans because like it happens on the Royal Rumble. It's like you see people in the corner. We make fun of it. Like there was one similarly with the War Games that I think it was at one point like AJ Lee and Charlotte were like almost hugging to each other, like cuddling in the corner. They're like, yeah, this is something that fans point out, but not something that commentary should tell me. I was like, oh, AJ Lee and Charlotte in the corner where they're cuddling, waiting for their moment. Like, don't tell me that. I shouldn't know that. It's just things that fans are like, oh, I noticed this. I get that, but I like the fact that everybody that comes in, especially when they come in right away, they do have a moment to have the spotlight as soon as they come in. And even then, some of them carry it over a little bit more. Like one of them that really got me was Steven Wolf with his drop kick. The height on that drop kick was chef's kiss. I was like, what in the world? How does he do it? I don't know, but that was amazing to watch. Um, like you said, I would same thing with Erica. I definitely wouldn't have put her in this match. And she was in the corner most of the time, and I felt bad because she had to be so careful about her leg. And really like there was at one point then Digest around and he starts hitting everybody but her because she's in the corner over there with the injury. It's like little things that you notice like that because of the timing of it. So I definitely would have waited on that. I think that's one of the ones that really also stood out to me was Marcus Mathers too. It was like Chef's Kiss on the song because I didn't remember, so shout out because of the song. But he was there. I think he's what the second one that comes in, and he was there basically almost the whole match. So that was so impressive to watch. Um, that was another thing. But and I like when they point out that there's if I'm mistaken, it was Jay Leon was one of them. Um, and there was a couple other guys that they were making the Dreamwave debut, and I like how commentary pointed it out to us as it was happening. There was somebody else aside from Mikey that you were making fun of, but I'm trying to remember who it was. But they're like, oh, they're making a Dreamwave debut. Oh, yeah, it was Mikey, the other one. I thought it was somebody else too. But I like the fact that they're point that out to us though, and it's not just somebody that had been there before and they tell us right away. Um, yeah, it's like I feel like that was really fun overall. They had their certain spots. Um, I do like the battle royals to just like it feels different from our point of view because we're taking notes for this. So I was like, we're trying to keep up with everything that's happening, and it's so complicated to do when you're taking notes. So it's like, at one point, do I give up and just watch it and just forget about the notes? But when
That's
you're
what I
just
did.
watching it, when you just watch it to watch it, it's different from taking the notes as it is. Um, yeah, overall, I at one point I also laughed with Falling Grade too. I believe she was doing like a sleeper hold sort of thing to Jack, and she kept holding it on. She looked so tiny on next to
He
him. It's just
just
like,
he just stood up and put her on the top rope, like on her bum. Like he just stood her up and sat her
yeah.
on the boat. I'm just like,
He,
oh, I
he
love
looked like
Jack.
he looked like this, and she looked like she was that tiny. I was like, she looks so cute from the corner. I felt really bad. Um,
By the
but
way,
yeah,
catch
overall.
Jack every Monday night on Whatnot at 10 o'clock. It's great. He sells all kinds of cool merch. Everything starts at $1. It's a cool vibe. You get to talk.
Mhm.
You get to actually ask him questions, and like he'll answer things, and you get to see like the person behind the
Mhm.
Dijak character. It's a really cool, interesting thing. If you've not heard of Whatnot, go check it out.
But yeah, overall, the only thing I wasn't a fan of was having Kody here because he's a champion. I would have preferred like none of the I that's what I like about the one usually, not always, but the Royal Rumble one they don't really have champions being a part of it. Like they already have a title, they don't need the title shot. Um, I think he's the only one that I would have, if I could have, would have also switched out of here. With the curse being involved here, I really thought that I really was hoping they would do that kind of moment of like Amina being there with Steven and Connor just like looking at each other like, who's gonna go for who first, because that would have been so interesting. But I like the fact that Bobby is the one that eliminates them together, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Channing is outside doing the kind of distraction too. So I like the fact that the way they lost, it wasn't just it was because they were distracted at the same time. There was a lot of factors to it, and I like how that came out too. The timing of that is something that I also thought was like how it has to be like really accurate for it to work out the way it did. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I like the ending of this match. I think it's really fun. Amina headbutting Stephen Wolf was a moment that headbutt she does is, God, it's good. It's Drew McIntyre levels of good on the headbutt. Bobby Orlando getting the win. It's just Bobby Orlando's another character where it's just like it shouldn't work, but the gimmick and the character go away as soon as the match starts. And like if he's in a serious match, you see serious Bobby Orlando. If he's in a comedy match, you see comedy Bobby Orlando. And like there were like two different versions of Bobby Orlando. And like in the beginning of this match, you have him like literally using Bobby Jr. as a weapon. Bobby Jr. gets an elimination in this. I know they credit it to Bobby Orlando, but Bobby Jr. is the one who knocks Florida Man out of the ring. So like you get that elimination there. I love that he gets the elimination with Channing Thomas helping to make sure that he evens the odds to screw with the curse. Like, I think that's a really great idea to continue the storyline. And then the beatdown starts. The curse is there. It's 4-on-1. Well, what happens? Brittnie Brooks comes out because you need a woman to help, siphon off Amina Belmont. So you got that going. Then Hartenbauer comes out to go ahead and make the save. And now you start to see the battle lines being drawn. And then disembodied voice of guy who runs Dreamwave Wrestling, who they don't name. And again, these are things I wish I knew because I should do research on these things, but I don't. Disembodied voice off screen says, well, look, I see 4 of you. I see 4 of them. Guess what? Survival of the fittest. And I went, that's not how survival of the fittest works. That's not how survival of the fittest works at all.
You know what the voice you made me just think of? Like, at least it's that voice and it's not the anonymous general manager that we got on Raw at one point, talking about gimmicks and storylines.
Michael Cole. But again, that's a storyline, not a gimmick. Like these.
I know. I'm thinking how it made me think of that, though.
Yeah. But yeah, the disembodied voice gives us, we're going to next month, well, not next month, in February at the next show, February 7th, we're going to get 4-on-4. It'll be Channing Thomas, Bobby Orlando, Hartenbauer, and Brittnie Brooks taking on Stephen Wolf, Amina Belmont, Connor Hopkins.
Connor.
Who's the 4th? Is Deshane in the match?
Probably.
I just now thought of it. I'm like 4-on-4. I'm like, who's the 4th? Who's
yeah, because it's
There's
Amina,
only 3 of them.
Steven, Connor. Yeah, it has to be Damien.
And who? Damien Deshane has to be at the manager.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Probably.
Interesting. I can't believe I just thought of that now after I've watched this show twice. Twice.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, Damien, unless they're going to bring somebody in to be the 4th. But again, this was another fantastic show. I really liked everything about this match, this show. I thought it was sensational. I thought every match got better and better, and then we had a battle royal, which was never going to be better than that main event. At the end of the day, Dreamwave Wrestling continues to be a fantastic way for me to spend a night watching some professional wrestling. I love the venue. It's small, it's intimate. It makes me feel like it's prototypical indie wrestling. I need them to get the announcers on a higher platform where they have a better view of what's going on. Because in this match, again, there were times where they were like, is this person still in the ring? And it's like, I don't know. You tell me. You're the ones telling me the story, boys.
Yeah, that's true.
But please, Dreamwave Wrestling, support them in any way you can. Watch them on IWTV, Independent Wrestling Television. Go ahead and give them a watch. There's all kinds of stuff on there. I haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up IWTV. And We're going to go ahead and show you IWTV because this is a fantastic service. If you don't have it, you really should if you love the independent wrestling landscape. Even Astrid can say how much she enjoys trying to find shows on here because it's just really good for stuff like that. So we've got all kinds of things like New Texas Pro Wrestling. This is one I want to show off to Astrid. I was looking at the card earlier. New South Pro Wrestling has the saga continues with Mike Bennett on the card. But there's 140 events in the just added section. Not to mention 393 promotions, all kinds of different free videos that if you don't subscribe, you can get. These are all on the video on demand thing. You can sort by promotion, and you have all kinds of fantastic things, including Wrestling Open, ETU, Dreamwave, Action Pro Wrestling, Limitless Wrestling, all kinds of great stuff on here. If you want live content, there is live content. Speaking of live content, one of the things that will be on live tomorrow night will be Heavy Lies the Crown from Beyond Wrestling 2025. That will be the show that we're covering as long as the VOD copy is on here this week. And sometimes Beyond Wrestling is iffy on getting the VOD copies up. So should that show be on there when we want to, we can have it. But just look at it, like in the next week or so, we've got 5 or 6 different promotions doing shows. No other wrestling platform gives you stuff like that. So I love it for things like that, where we get the opportunity to cover all these different types of promotions on top of YouTube, on top of all the things. So go ahead and give them a subscribe over there. Try it for a month or two. See what you think. I think you'll really enjoy it if you dig the shows that we do and the promotions we talk about. A lot of the promotions we talk about are found right here. So you can go ahead and find them. Astrid, speaking of places where we can find people, where can the people find you? And how can they go ahead and get a hold of Charlie Evans so we can get you that interview?
I really wish it would happen one day. You can find me in my Twitter Blue Sky. Sorry, I'm making the chapters two at the same time. Twitter Blue Sky is Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram and Threads is Astrid Pizarro 20. And if you're here, you're most likely on my YouTube channel, so hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when I upload or go live. Watch the OLE one. We're less than 30 hours away to get monetized. So if you can, put us on a playlist in the background. Watch this tomorrow while you're doing something else, while you're doing chores, and just keep it on the background on the phone. Watch it, put it on your TV while you're running around the house doing stuff until we get those 30 hours. We will really appreciate it. It will be a really great way to get monetized. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully sometime this week.
Yeah. The first level of monetization will allow us to go ahead and take super chats where you can make me say weird things as long as they're somewhat appropriate. Somewhat appropriate. Appropriate. Of course, you can find me in all the places. That's fine. Whatever. You know how that thing works. You can go ahead and find our local establishment at all the places down here. Ol'Ed Podcasts on all your favorite social media platforms. Our local establishment on YouTube, on Twitch, all those streaming platforms. You can find us there. Like Astrid said, we're getting really close to that first level of monetization, and then it's on to the 4,000 watch hours and the 1,000 subscribers. So we'll make that push when we get there. But we're ever so close to this first level of monetization, which will help us continue to pay for the graphics for the shows, to pay for the StreamYard to continue to do the shows. All of that would be great things that you could do. If you could do those things, that would be fantastically helpful. And again, most of that is just free stuff, just going ahead and showing up and watching the content on YouTube after the fact, letting a playlist run in the background while your day goes on, things like that. Simple things that you don't have to pay a dime for to just go ahead and do. We would really appreciate it. Let's give one last look at the comments. Thank you, Mel. We greatly appreciate it. No, Bobby, we will not get him on the show already. No, Mikey on the show. No more mentions of Mikey, nothing. We're never going to talk about him again. He's going to be like Bruno. We're never going to talk about him again. But I have been Ol'Ed Edgefries. This has been Astrid Pizarro. We will see you in 2026 as we go ahead and cover more independent wrestling. Until then, goodbye.
I am in misery.